Dear students, today we are going to discuss recruitment policy. First of all, we need to know that what is recruitment policy. An organization's recruitment policy provides the framework for recruiting actions, and it reflects the organization's recruiting objectives and culture. It means recruitment policy need to be aligned with recruitment objectives and the culture of the organization. And in recruitment policy, the organization objectives and culture must need to be reflected. Recruitment policy details the overriding principles to be followed by the management in general and HR management in particular. It means recruitment policy have all the overriding principles which are required to recruit people in your organization. And those overriding principles must need to be followed by the top management of the organization in general and particularly followed by human resource manager of that particular organization. There are a number of recruitment policy items, and we need to discuss each and every possible recruitment items in detail. The first item is, will equal employment opportunities policies be applied only where legally required or universally required? For example, even in some countries which have no or only limited equal employment opportunities requirement, they need to follow particular recruitment policy. Equal employment opportunities, practices and policies are one of the items of the recruitment policy. So we need to keep in mind whenever we need to start the recruitment activity in the organization. In recruitment policy item, there is another item, that promotion from within. We have to answer a question: will organization would hire candidates internally or externally? Whether the organization will prefer internal candidates or external candidates. So this is another important recruitment policy item about internal and external hiring. Then we may have another item, that is a recruiting personnel from local, interprovincial or international sources. Dear students, there are some recruitment which need to be done locally. For example, if you want to hire a worker or laborer at the Ryland Road factory, you need to advertise in a local newspaper which is published only around Ryland. But if you are going to hire HR manager, maybe you need to advertise interprofessionally. And sometimes you need to hire some neurosurgeon for one of your private hospital. You may need to advertise or you may need to recruit neurosurgeon from international context. So it depends on the position that recruiting personnel from local context or interprovincial context or international context. Then another recruitment policy item is about permanent hiring. Whether you would fill the position, permanent position, or you are going to fill a part-time position, or you are going to hire a casual position. So permanent, part-time and casual employment is another important recruitment policy item. Dear students, in the recruitment policy item, we need to mention that we are hiring people with disabilities. Nowadays, it is important agenda of the companies that they need to hire 1 or 2% of the people which are disabled. So there are disabilities quotas in some of the public sector organizations, and some private sector organizations are also preferring and hiring people with disabilities. So we need to mention in our organization that whether we are hiring people with disabilities or not hiring people with disabilities. And we need to give the reasons of hiring people with disabilities or not hiring people with disabilities. Another recruitment item can be hiring women and member of minorities group. So this is important recruitment policy item, that we are hiring women or we are hiring people from a minority groups. Employees taking early or normal retirements. This is also a recruitment policy item, that do we prefer to retire people little earlier. Then This is a very important recruitment policy item, that employing relative and friends of existing employees. Some companies not prefer to hire friends or the relatives of the existing employees because of their recruitment policy within the company. So it must be mentioned in the recruitment policy item that company would hire person having relatives or friends within the organization. Then there's another issue of employing children domestically and internationally. There are some countries where there is a child labor and company need to mention employing children at domestic level or at the international level. And last but not least, employing union and or non-union members. So company need to mention that whether they need to hire unionized employees or they would only hire non-union members of an organization.